The topic for tonight is basically regarding Teshuva. We will talk about how important it is for a person to be close to Almighty Hashem. What's the tafkid of a man and a woman in his life and her life. A woman is supposed to be sinut, and a man is supposed to be very careful about the Shemet HaBerit and Shemet Einaim, and be trying to get more spiritual, and together, husband and wife, when they get married, they complement each other and they can grow spiritually. So the question comes here, many people ask this question, they have this thing in their mind about Teshuva. Because right now also, we already know today, we are going to Asher Tevet, and it's the day of Teshuva. So the question is, how a person does Teshuva? Unfortunately, there's some misconception among the Jews that they say there's a day we have, it's called Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement, and people, they do whatever they want to do, and then Yom Kippur, that's a Day of Atonement. And people do Teshuva, and that's it. And that's not the case. Unfortunately, it's a misconception. I don't know where they got it. Maybe they got it from the Christians or whatever. But in Jewish religion, Hakadosh Baruch Hu wants us to do Teshuva on a daily basis. It's not just one day thing. And He wants us to keep our spirituality 24/7 throughout the year. And on the Yom Kippur is basically we go higher spiritually. We become more cleaner, but we have to keep our spirituality intact, and we should be very careful not to do any avera. That's the whole concept. And unfortunately, we've seen that we heard people, they don't understand it. They think that Teshuvah is difficult. It's just it's enough to do it once a year, and Hashem is going to forgive. And unfortunately, that's not the case. Hashem, there are 365 negative commandments and 248 positive commandments, and if a person transgresses them, unfortunately, he gets punished by Hakadosh Baruch Hu, and he has difficulty in his life, and difficulty before he goes to Olam Haba. He has to go to the different means to begin. His soul becomes cleansed in order to go to Olam Haba. So I don't want to talk about what happens in that process, because it's very painful. So as a Chacham, Haroeh Nolad, the person is Chacham, he sees the consequence of his action, and he or she should do things in order to prevent any future pain or misfortune. By what? By trying to become to do Teshuva and clean what we call when a person does avera, he has certain what they call ketamim, blemish on his soul, and in order for him or her to go to Olam Haba, those blemishes has to be purified, and that's why there's the concept of Gehenom or Kavikela or Ramotohu Vohu, that is Chivut HaKever. These are things that happens to Neshama if it's not pure, and it's a very extremely painful process. So Chacham Norah and Olad has to see, watch for this thing. We should get closer to Hashem, and from here he's going to be able to get very very close to Hakadosh Baruch Hu by not doing averot. Now there's a statement here that I want to read from. It's from the Rabbi Akiva, right? It says, "Hu haya omer," is Pikavot, Perek Shishi. It says, "Hu haya Rabbi Akiva haya omer, Chaviv Adam sheniva b'Tselem." A human being, mankind, not talking about Jewish people, but mankind. This is a statement from Rabbi Akiva, that he is beloved to Hakadosh Baruch Hu because Hashem created mankind like himself. Chaviva yetera nodat lo shenira b'Tselem. The Hashem gave the mankind a more love to him to to let him know that a human being is created like what? Like Hakadosh Baruch Hu. And we're talking about just mankind, any person, Goyim or non, Jews and non-Jews, right? Shemar ki b'sem Elokim asad Adam, that Hakadosh Baruch Hu, the pasuk explicitly says in the Bereshit that Hakadosh Baruch Hu, he created a human being, a Selem Elokim, like something similar image, right? Then it goes further. Rabbi Akiva says, "Chavivim Yisrael shikra banim lamakom." The Jewish people are more beloved than regular mankind to Hakadosh Baruch Hu because we are considered what? We are considered as His son, right? Which means Hashem has given us a soul, a special neshama that the other goyim don't have, and by having that soul, we are able to get more closer to Hakadosh Baruch Hu, right? The Hashem gave them, expressed His love more by letting the Jewish people know that we are His son, right? Then it goes further. It says, Hakadosh Baruch Hu is Jewish people are beloved to Hashem because Hashem gave us keli chemda, something very beloved, something precious, keli, a utensil, which is called what? It's Torah. Hashem gave us Torah, which is through this we can accomplish very high spirituality. And is what is more chaviv than what that through that Hakadosh Baruch Hu created the world. That's what was one of my rabbanim in Chicago used to say. Torah is a blueprint of the world. So that's what it is. So from through Torah, the world was created. Shemar, what it says. He says, I gave you a precious gift, utensil, right? He gave it to Jewish nation, and he says, do not abandon my Torah. That's what Rabbi Akiva says. So we see how important we are, not only the Jews, but also the mankind beloved to Hashem, but we, especially we Jews, we are extremely precious to the Hakadosh Baruch Hu, extremely precious. So now that we know this concept that Hashem loves us so much, so we have to, what we call Hakar Tov, we have to have a gratitude that Hashem loves us so much and He created us like Him. So we have to see what He likes us to do and we follow. So for us, we have 613 commandments, and the Goyim, they have 7 commandments. But He has given also the Goyim 7 commandments so that they'll be able to achieve also their spirituality with the kind of neshama they have. It is different than the Jews. Ours are the higher neshama Hashem has given us in order for us to understand Torah, and because we are chaviv. We are very chaviv, we are banim. That's what it says here. Now, once we said all this, now we want to understand as a person does a teshuva, does avera, most of his life, and he says, I'm at this stage of my life that I cannot do no more teshuva. I've done so many things, and even if I want to, I've done so much averot, so many averot. It's impossible Hashem is going to accept my teshuva. That's not the case. Hashem, when created the world, He wanted to give the Torah to Israel. The Malachim didn't want Him to give it. He said, you want to show them. The Jewish people are going to sin. Why are you giving them Torah? He said, well, I have an antidote for these sins. What is this? It is, I give them Torah. The Torah, Teshuva, I give them Teshuva, they do Teshuva, once they do Teshuva, right, they're going to be able to come back. I accept the Teshuva if they are sincere about it, okay? So That's the whole concept of Teshuva. The person does Teshuva, the concept is we get close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, follow His commandments, and if something goes wrong, Hashem has this whole concept of Teshuva, so that we can do Teshuva. Now there's a story in the Midrash says about Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu was the first person that brought the mankind to realization there is God in the world. He was the first person. That's why he's our avot, the main father that we have. That we when in the Shemoneh Esrei we say Baruch Atah Hashem. The first bracha we say in the Shemoneh Esrei, Magen Avraham. Why? Because Avraham Avinu was the first person that brought the realization that there is God in the world. Right? And he used to, there is a story, this is a very the famous story, but I'm going to repeat it because of the fact that we're talking about Teshuva. Avraham Avinu, he used to have a tent, and he had it full opening from all his side of the tent, and he would let all the type of people would come in, and he would feed them. And he was very wealthy person, and he would ask them when they would come in. The only thing he wanted to ask them to do is just when they want to eat, they just make one benediction, one bracha. Just make a bracha that thank Hashem that they would express their gratitude to that there's a God that has brought this bountiness, this prosperity, this food. Has provided this food is Hashem, and that was his only requirement. So they could eat everything, right? They just have to thank God. That's it. That was his only requirement. Avraham Avinu was asking from who? For every passerby that was coming, eating by him, and he was giving them all the food free. So there was an older man came by. He was around 70 years old, or around that age. He came by and he says, Avinu welcomed him and said, come here, please, wash your hand, eat whatever you want to eat, but you should know, one of the prerequisites of this is, right, I don't ask you anything, I don't want no money from you. The only thing I want from you, just say thank you, there's a God that has provided this food. And the older man was so far away from knowing God. He said, I don't know who is God, I'm not going to do that. He said, well, I'm not going to give you the food. He said, that's okay. I'm going to walk away, I'm not going to eat. I'm not going to bless God. So he walked away, and Avinu says, well, his problem, not mine. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu came to him and says, Avraham Avinu, I've been waiting for 70 years for this old man to come here and say, and through you he become known, find out that there's a God, and he comes back to Teshuva. Go back and return him, bring him back to the fact that there's a God, and he turns to God. So Avraham Avinu got a big lesson from that. He went to him and he said, you know what, you don't have to say blessing, come, it's okay, you can come and eat by me without saying blessing to God. And the man, and he started giving him a lot of hospitality, and the older man stayed by him for a while. And finally, because of the Avraham Avinu kindness, and he being around him influenced the older man to do Teshuva, and he also acknowledged the fact that there's a God, and he became God worshipper. So from this story you hear, right? Everybody could do a Teshuva, and Hashem wants the person to do Teshuva, right? Then there's another story that is a Gemara about Elisha ben Abuya. He was a big Talmid Chacham. He was the colleague of Rabbi Akiva, very high Talmid Chacham, scholar, and he went what we call in Hebrew tabula. He went after that. He changed his course and he became completely against HaKadosh Baruch Hu's will, and he started not being observant. And they say what was the final thing that caused him to go off the derech, right? He said because he had a bad cold, right? That Hakadosh Baruch Hu is gonna accept everybody's teshuvah except Elisha Abuya, Ben Abuya. And the reason Hashem was so upset at him was because when Elisha Abuya, which was a big time Chacham, went off the derech, he was going around and he was trying to bring Jewish people. He was encouraging them to become atheists, and that's why Hashem got this bad call. So the Chazal say that even he did this, he misunderstood this message. The message was not that the fact that if the person does teshuvah, the Hakadosh Baruch Hu is not going to accept him. Usually, when a person wants to do teshuvah, right? There's a concept that we have in the Gemara and also in Zohar. It says Haba l'taher mesayim oto, which means if somebody wants to come to Hakadosh Baruch Hu and does teshuvah, Hashem gives him a hand. He helps him in two different means. He gives him a hand. He does a teshuvah, right? That was a message to Elisha ben Abuya. I won't do this to you. You do it on your own. You want to do teshuvah? I want to do teshuvah, but I won't give you a hand. But he misunderstood, and that's why he completely went off the derech. Okay, but in reality, even the classic case that we have in Gemara, that there was a big time Chacham, he went completely off the derech. Chazal say Hashem still wanted him to do teshuvah. He wanted him to do teshuvah, so if he wanted him to do teshuvah, let alone every other person could do teshuvah, and Hashem accepted him, except the fact that he was doing lachis, because lachis to make Hakadosh Baruch Hu angry, encouraging other people to do averot, right? Hakadosh Baruch Hu said, in your case, I'm not going to help you. Even if you want to do teshuvah, you're going to do it solo. You're going to do it on your own. I'm not going to give you a hand. It's going to be everything uphill. But you could do it. And he got the wrong message. So from here we see we could do it. So by giving this introduction about teshuvah, I think now we understand how important is Jewish people, mankind, Jewish people, to Hakadosh Baruch Hu. The Chaviv we have it from Pikavot. We know it from the Avraham Avinu. We know that Hashem wants everybody, when the Goyim become Tabat Choser B'Teshuvah, because we say Alinu Shabbat every day. We say Bayom Havu Yeh Hashem Echad Shmo Echad. That it says on the day of when Mashiach comes with Hashem, all the nations, even the Goyim, right? They will recognize that there's only one God and He's the only one, and the way they will know it, I heard from Al-Tani, interesting concept, the way they will know Hashem, they know it from Torah Moshe. Torah Moshe Rabbeinu, they will know that there's a God and He's going to be a single person. So that's how important it is. So we Jews, we have to be we have to be very careful to try to sanctify Hashem's name among the Goyim, and by doing so, they will realize that the Jewish people are special people, they are godly people, and they are basically, through that, the Goyim also take a lesson and they become more spiritual, and finally they realize it's God. And that's what Harab says. Rabbi Tani Shlita said, when they said, Bayom Hahu, Yeh Hashem Echad Shmo Echad, on that day, all the mankind, even Goyim, but we're not Goyim, the Jews we know, they know that there's only one God. How would they know what kind of God it is? From Torah Moshe, from the Jewish people, from the Torah that Moshe Rabbeinu gave, and through that they would realize that. Okay, so now here Palipelius starts. Can we continue in this one?
Yes, we have some time.
Yeah. Okay. So Pelelius.
We have 6 minutes.
Okay. All right. Pelelius comes here as one of the. We have a lot of Baalei Musar that they give Musar about different things, how to person should conduct in his or her life. And one of the books that is very highly recommended is called Sefer Peleus Rabbi Elazar Papo, right? And Rabbi Elazar Papo, his Sefer is extremely renowned, and they say that whoever learns his book and follow it, right, he's going to have a very long life. And they say people in his life, during his time, everybody that followed his advice, they live a long life and they reach very long years, many years. Now, here it says the first thing a person should do regarding to Teshuva, right? A person should do learn Torah. That's his first recommendation, because that's a Gemara. Gemara says that if a person has a Yisahara, this is advice for the Jewish people, for men and women, both of, even though women are not obligated to learn Torah on a daily basis, but they should know certain halachot and certain things, how to behave and how to run their life that way, and they should learn. And this says, the Gemara says, the person has a Yisahara, and this Yisahara, even if is made of stone, if he goes to Beit HaMidrash and learn Torah, right, the stone becomes melts, and if a person if it's made of iron, it's going to become broken to pieces, which means Torah has that power that it be able to change a person 180 degrees. Okay, and before we start this video, I just recently saw this piece of Gemara. It's a Tosafot and Gemara Ta'anit, right? Talking about the concept in the Gemara, there's a Torah Master Magnet, which means Torah saves and protects. By learning Torah, right, a person gets protected by Baruch Hu. He is safe from many calamities, right? So the Tosafot here gives a special provision about this whole concept of learning Torah, and I I try to be very brief on this. And it says a person has to learn Torah, the Gemara Tani. It says, "Kol ha'osek beTorah shel lishma, Torah na'aseh lo sam ha'mavet." It says, whoever that learns Torah but is not lishma, right, it becomes sam ha'mavet, which means we have a concept that as Chaim Machzikim ba. When a person learns Torah, right, it becomes as Chaim for him. He has a longevity, right? But this Gemara Tanit, which is Gemara Tanit, talks mostly about Teshuva, is Daf Zayin Amud Aleph. It says, whoever that learns Torah, right, but he doesn't do it lishma, right? It is some hamovet. And Tosfos asked the question, is it possible? We have another Gemara that says, even a person that doesn't learn Torah lishma, I'm just going to say briefly what it says here, because anybody could come and look up this Tosfot, is Tani Zayin Amud Aleph. It says, for us here, we have other places, Mitoch Shelo Lishma Ba Lishma. We have from this Rabbi Yossi Pazi, Rabbi Cham Zakai, that there's a story, is an interesting story, which I just, you can go, anybody could go and look up the story, that says that this person, Yossi, was a student, he wanted to learn Torah only to get money, and Rabbi Cham Zakai accepted him in the yeshiva, and in the end, he will learn there for a few years, and after a few years he said, "No, I learned so much, I want to get money," because that's what his arrangement, that he wanted to get money, and Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said, he knew this concept of Shelo Lishma Ba Lishma, right? Shelo Lishma Ba Lishma. He gave him the opportunity and learn Torah, and he gave him a gentleman came and gave him 13 golden cups, which were called paz. They were like a gebiot paz. They were like a very, very high quality gold, right? Carried gold, and he accepted it. He accepted it, and Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai gave it to him, and eventually this Talmid later on he regretted that he's getting this, he's learning Torah for money, and he returned those calves, and he became what? He started learning Lishma. So we know there's such a concept, Shelo Lishma, Ba Lishma. So why the Gemara says, Tosafot asks, why Gemara says somebody doesn't learn Lishma, it becomes Sam HaMavet? So Tosafot answers, if somebody, there are two kinds of Lishma. One is a person wants to learn Torah, right? Wants to learn Torah, so he wants to become a rabbi. So they call him rabbi, high position. That's why. Then there is a... Okay,
Next one.